Okay, today we're gonna talk about the SBR. I meant the SBR, the pistol brace, and the bump stock Supreme Court decisions. I'm also gonna give an update. It has come to my attention that a juror on the Trump kangaroo trial did not talk to their cousin. Okay, everything else was true, but that is not. Okay, now the Supreme Court now tells us that the bump stock ban and pistol brace ban are unconstitutional. To put that into perspective, the bump stock thing was a Trump thing, and I still support Trump even though I disagree on that. I'm very open about that. Not every Republican is 100% Second Amendment, and Trump admitted he made a mistake, and he said, I'll live with that mistake. At least he's honest, okay? Fucking Democrats would have been, and look at fucking Democrats, what they do. Okay, they say the Supreme Court is legitimate, or they say, well, I'm still right, fuck them, or I'm still gonna do it. So, that's that. Now, bump stock, I'm assuming that most of you know what's going on, but if there's someone that doesn't know what's going on, I'll explain it to them. A bump stock, now, several people have said over the years, Tim from Military Arms Channel being one of them, that you can bump fire a certain gun, or most guns, most rifles, if you hold it at a certain angle, or have this, that. I've seen guys doing demo assault where they bump stock, they take a stick, put it in their gun, and move it a certain way, and they bump fire it. Okay. Bump stock is literally a backdoor machine gun, in every sense of the word. In fact, I first saw it, I think it was Hickok 45, and then Barry and Eric had one, and I said it's gonna be a problem down the road. I knew someone's gonna have a problem selling. It looks funny and cool, and I said someone's gonna ruin it for someone at one point in time. I'm always right. You take a rifle and you put this special kind of stock on it, the stock and pistol combination. Usually AR type or AK type rifle. You hold the rifle, you charge the rifle itself, like you move the rifle forward with one hand and move the pistol back with one hand and pull the trigger. And backdoor machine gun, because it does not interfere with the mechanics of the gun. It interferes with gravity, and it's literally in the back of the gun instead of in the mechanism itself. So it's a backdoor machine gun. The way you hold the gun, a machine gun, is you pull the trigger and all the bullets come out. This gun, the angle you hold it at, the recoil keeps hitting your finger, and it keeps the gun firing, so you think it's a machine gun. It looks like a machine gun. In fact, it's a surrogate machine gun, because for those of us that don't live in states that allow the machine gun, or those of us that don't have $100,000 to buy a pre-86 machine gun, you can have a surrogate machine gun. That's what it is. Now, the pistol brace. I used the pistol brace a long time ago. I was shooting at a range and I rented an SBR MPX. I didn't hit the fucking paper. It was embarrassing. And at my own range, I see a guy with one. I'm like, he's a federal agent. He's a federal agent. That's why he's exempt all these fucking bans. And he had one. And he was shooting his Glock, drawing from the hip, very good shot. He said he used to be an air marshal now with regular Homeland. The Glock had like a royal blue frame with the black slide, very, very nice. And he whips out his MPX, boom, boom, boom. And I told him I shot one, I sucked at it. Get a first target, yay. He had to stop it, he told me how to hold it, and I fired it. He goes, that's the pistol. What? Yeah, you had the arm brace. Really? Yeah. It wasn't bad. The arm brace was a prosthetic for handicapped people. And obviously the Second Amendment is okay, but You know, if you're disabled and you want to practice the Second Amendment, the Democrats don't care. Okay, the DC handgun ban discriminated against handicapped people because handicapped people would have a hard time using a rifle or shotgun in a home invasion situation. You know, if you're handicapped in the legs, you have a hard time moving around while firing a rifle or shotgun because you have to either have a walker or have a cane, right, or be in a wheelchair, and your gun always had to be disabled at all times. So if you're handicapped in the arm, like missing a finger or missing a hand or having a really, really bad fucking man, worse than my own, you may have a hard time going to the safe, opening the safe, getting the gun, putting it together. Plus, using a gun in self-defense was illegal entirely. So, the Democrats didn't give a fuck, obviously. And the prosthetic arm brace is another thing for the disabled. Someone said you can have an AR pistol or AR rifle or AK pistol, AK rifle, and have a hard time with it. So you could put it on your arm, open up the brace straps, and strap it to your arm. Maybe your hand doing assistant doing that. Strap it to your arm and use it that way. Okay, fine. Some guy for some reason said, hey, wait a minute, I could probably take that thing and hold it on my wrist, boom, 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 like a regular rifle. Okay, that's a good idea. And the ATF originally said that's fine. That's not an SBR. That's not an SBS. Now, if you live in a state that allows SBR, SBS, which is the rifle is shorter than 16, and the shotgun is shorter than 18, you have to have it registered with the ATF, assuming your state allows it. When you do the ATF registration, you have to pay $200. The ATF said this pistol brace is totally fine. It's not an SBR, it's not an SBS. And a whole bunch of guys realize, I can have a back door, here we go again, a surrogate SBR, SBS. All I gotta do is buy the pistol version, AK, AR, PC carbine is one of them, the Ruger 1022 pistol, which is called a Charger, that's one of them. There was even a couple of, I think one of the HK 308s comes in SBS, comes in pistol form. There's a whole bunch of rifles. I'll buy the pistol, register it as a pistol if it's registered, your state, whatever your state does, and I'll just put that on there. And I got a backdoor SBR, SBS. Okay, cool. And then the ATF started counting. Every single one they sell is $200 that we're not making. So the ATF wrote a law. Now, the ATF is the only law enforcement agency in this country that has the power to write their own laws, which right there is an affront to the Constitution, and that should be something that should be appealed to the High Court. Can the ATF write a law? No, they can't. In our constitutional system, the legislature writes the laws. Federal is the House of Representatives and the Senate. Every state is different. State assembly, state senate, state legislature, whatever the state calls itself. The city council is the city level. It's usually a county level legislator. And the county will write a law. And the executive officer, the mayor, the governor, the president, the county executive will sign that law or veto that law. And a court can determine later on who gets prosecuted for violating that law, or other courts will determine what laws get overturned. The ATF can just write their own law anything they want. They write a law. Now they say, blah, 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 if you have this device, you're going to prison. Okay. When someone says you will do this, or you will not do this, or I will punish you, that is a law. It's a law. You're writing a law. And there are fucking liberals online saying, you're wrong. There were liberals saying, well, the ATF has the power because they have to keep up with the time. No, bullshit. Okay? You want to write a law in the legislature. Okay? And the ATF would do all this shit, and very few ATF rulings or laws or shit they did, very few were overturned or even brought to the court's attention. Okay, the ATF did a lot of crazy shit. Right, they did. Keep in mind the ATF's biggest problem I think ever was the Waco situation. Now, David Koresh was a child molester. Okay. And he was hoarding machine guns and explosives in violation of federal law. But when the ATF went after him, they had a situation where they had women and children inside the compound, and they put a lot of them in danger. They could have turned off his water, turned off his electricity, camped around his compound, and stayed there for a year. That's how castles were overthrown 1,000 years ago. Okay, because if you can't get food into the castle, if you can't get supplies into the castle will eventually fall because the guys inside will starve to death. Okay, so the ATF could turn off the water, turn off the electricity, okay, and just sat there and waited. But they ran out of patience, and they went in and they got a lot of their own guys killed, and so they've made a couple mistakes over the years themselves. But in the past couple of years, the ATF, which is a law enforcement agency, which is supposed to catch bad guys, they spend most of their time now worrying about why do you need that? Why do you need that? I mean, your job is to get bad guys. Don't fucking lecture me about what I don't need. Go arrest the fucking bad guy. Okay, so they're not exactly a popular agency. And even those hardcore law enforcement supporters say, no, fuck the ATF. It's the truth. They have the power to write their own laws, and even after a mistake like Waco, and the guy that called that shot at Waco, the guy that said let's do it now, let's hit it, that guy was almost ATF director. Okay. Anyway, but the ATF, in addition to writing their own laws, the ATF said, okay, here's the deal. If you have a pistol brace already, you're exempt. You got to register it. You don't got to pay the fee. But if you want to buy a pistol brace now, you got to pay the fee. Now, you will do this or I will punish you. Or you will not do this, I will punish you. That's a law. If you want to do this, you have to give me money first. That's bribery. That's extortion. Give me money and I'll let you do this. Okay? I want you to... The ATF doesn't care about public safety. They care about $200. $200 multiplied by every... Yeah. And that was, I think, thrown out on the grounds of administrative purposes because it wasn't a written law. And the high courts really... I mean, there's a couple of magazine bans that are being appealed. There's a couple of accessory bans that are being appealed. We're looking at having a lot of unconstitutional shit overturned in the next couple of years. Now, will the Hughes Amendment be repealed? I don't think so. Well, the ATF's in 1934, no, the ATF was founded in the 70s, and the Justice Department oversaw the Title II firearms in 34 and the 70s, right? In other words, when the Title II weapons were banned, machine guns, machine guns, suppressors, short barrel rifle, short barrel shotgun, the extortion fee was put in. That was 1934. FBI and Justice oversaw that from 34 into the 70s, and then in the 70s, ATF took it over. But will that stuff be entirely repealed? I don't know. But this is a step in the right direction because I think it's stupid. Now, the concept of the Title II firearms, I think the number one guy would be Clyde Barrow. I honestly believe, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but I honestly believe, and have believed since I got into guns, period, that Clyde Barrow is the reason for that Title II Controls Act. Because he was killed in 1933 with his girlfriend, Bonnie, and it went into effect a year later. Now, Clyde Barrow, And if you saw the Warren Beatty movie, which is 100% fiction, by the way, he has the Tommy guns in that. In real life, Clyde Barrow never saw a picture of a Tommy gun. Clyde Barrow's weapon of choice was the fucking BAR. He was firing full oil 30-06 bullets. Clyde Barrow would sometimes cut the buttstock down a little bit or cut the rifle down a little bit. But one thing he did perfectly well was the Remington Model 11 shotgun. He would cut the barrel down to the shotgun. Like, in other words, the magazine tube held 5 rounds back in the day. It stopped, and the barrel continued on. He would take a shotgun, measure it out, and he would cut the length so that from the magazine tube to the end of the barrel was about 2 3/4 to 3 inches. He cut it down a lot. He was like 5'5" for that barrel. He would cut the buttstock down as much as he could, and he would put a leather strap on it. We call it today a 1-point sling. He'd put under his coat, like under his arm, put a suit jacket on over it, and then he would whip it out. And it was called a whip-it gun. Okay? Now, Clyde Barrow, the reason why Bonnie and Clyde are popular is not because they rob banks, okay? In fact, I think they may have robbed 1 or 2 banks if they robbed the bank at all. Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker and the Barrow Gang, they robbed liquor stores, convenience stores, grocery stores, bars, gas stations, okay? They were basically low-level thugs, okay? The reason why they're so famous today is because they killed 12 people, no less than 12. And of that, no less than 12, no less than 9 were cops. That's why they're famous today. Okay, there probably a million guys like them on the front on the open territory back in the day in the 1920s, 1930s. There were probably a million guys like them robbing convenience stores, robbing liquor stores. Just a bunch of young punk fucking kids. But because he killed so many people, because most of them were cops, and because of his crazy arsenal of firearms, I mean, when they fucking killed him, you better see the shit. Did you see the video when they killed him? The shit in his car. He had more fucking weapons in his car than 10 police stations back then. And the funny thing about that is that Clyde Barrow would not have complied. Even if the law was on the books back then, Clyde Barrow was not going to fill out a fucking Justice Department form or wait 3 months or mail it in, give his address, give his fingerprints. He was not going to do that. He was not going to do that. Most of the guns he bought were stolen. Even if you could buy them legally, he stole most of them. He went to a lot of state police armories. He went to a lot of National Guard armories. Most guns were stolen. He didn't need a background check back then, but he couldn't take the chance of walking into a gun shop because he would have been recognized and shot. He's a very, very recognizable guy. Okay? So, that goes to show you right there that the bad guy doesn't follow the law, period. Okay, thank you.